Hello, hello, welcome to the replay. And we'll sort of let people join, but I wanted to let you guys know we're talking about writing. It's my favorite thing to talk about. I am Morgan Gist McDonald. Hello, hello. Who's Jiso? Jessica. Sorry, I just popped up in your profile. Hey guys, welcome, welcome. So we're talking about writing, my favorite thing to talk about. I am Morgan Gist McDonald. I am writing coach and editor and author, and my website is paperravenediting.com. Jessica, you're in Sweden. Nice. Sweden's lovely, I feel like. I don't know why. Sweden just evokes this feeling of surely everything's peaceful and wonderful there. I have no idea what Sweden's like. Although one of my authors does live in Stockholm. She loves it. Anyway, yes, so one of the things that I find that people love to talk about with writing is all of the tips and tricks and do I write in Scrivener or Evernote or Google Docs or whatever? And I love to geek out on that stuff too. But really, I want to start off this Monday with some more foundational stuff, because you can have the best tools in the world and the best marketing plan in the world, but if you're not ready for writing in your mind, you're not going to be able to finish, your book or whatever you're writing. And so I like to think of writing as a confidence battle, and the battle is won or lost in your mind, really. I mean, we are so able to psych ourselves out. And so I want to give you guys some strategies and tools to keep you from psyching yourself out. So, while I'm at it, so if you guys are not yet following me and you love to talk about writing, hit that little Perry dude there and hit follow me. And everything that we're talking about, I've written down in what I call scope notes on my website. So I just have a little Evernote file, and as I'm thinking about what I want to talk about today, I just pop some notes in there and then put them on my website so that you guys can get notes later. So I'll show you the link, but it'll be paperravenediting.com/periscope. So let's hop into it. So let me know if where you're coming in from. And if you are writing, what are you writing? Are you writing books, blogs, theses, magazine articles? What do you write so that I can help? Thanks for the hearts, guys. So I want to help you do your best writing, whatever kind of writing that is. So the first mindset shift that's really common is people say to themselves, this is all internal, right? This is how we talk to ourselves. We say, I'm not a good writer. Yeah, I mean, I say that to myself even. I'm like, I'm just not a good writer. And even if people have told you that you are a good writer, that thought still just sits and cycles in your mind. And so a way to turn this around is to say, I have something valuable to share. Hey, Boaz. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Hello, hello. So if you find yourself thinking, I'm not a good writer, you can turn that around and say, I have something valuable to share, and an editor can help clean up the grammar later, right? And so take the focus on whether you're a good writer or a bad writer. That doesn't matter. It's whether you have something to share. Thanks for the hearts. I'm glad this is resonating with you guys. So that's kind of the first foundational mindset shift, away from whether or not you're a good writer and toward just the fact that you have something to share. Oh, Leisha, I was told I'm a lazy writer. That's terrible. I don't even really know what a lazy writer is. I mean, I guess it could mean a lot of things, honestly. That's one of my pet peeves is feedback that's not helpful. It's what do you mean lazy writer? Does that mean that I type really slowly? What does that mean? So, yes, but even as much as other people's comments on our writing hurt, our own comments on our own writing is often what keeps us from writing. So the second one, you don't explain yourself well enough. Oh yeah, that is, so I do have some tips for that. Let me table that until after I hit these 5 and remind me. Don't let me forget. Okay, so the second one, I'm not an expert. And this gets us no matter what industry you're in, whether it's academia or social media or whatever, this feeling that I don't know what I'm talking about, and you start thinking of the quote-unquote experts in your industry and you just compare yourself to them and I just will never, I might as well not write. So how to flip that mindset is to say, I can share what I've learned so far. Okay, so I may not be an expert. I may not be the world's foremost expert. That's totally fine. I can share what I've learned so far, and whatever you've learned will be valuable to someone else. I promise. I promise. And sometimes they just need to hear it from you. Sometimes people don't want to learn from like the foremost expert. They're too far and above and away and like untouchable. But maybe you are the voice that you could reach to someone who's a little bit like one step behind you and reach out to them and say, I don't know everything, but here's what I've learned so far. And maybe that's exactly the sort of lifeline that your reader really needs. So it's okay if you're not an expert. You can share what you've learned so far. Number 3, I'm such a procrastinator. I say this to myself all the time. As much as I love to-do lists and whatnot, I feel like I say to myself internally, I'm such a procrastinator, I'll never actually get this done. So how to flip that is to say, I can write for 10 minutes today. Like, table all of the other, like, issues and how am I going to write this whole book or how am I going to blog every day? Like, don't even go there right now. If you are struggling with this mindset that I'm a procrastinator so I don't get stuff done, write for 10 minutes. And then that's like proving to yourself and to your subconscious, I can sit down and I can write. So that's a really quick way to shift out of that mindset and say, okay, I may be a habitual procrastinator, but here in this moment, I don't have to procrastinate. I can write for 10 minutes. Number 4, this is not the right time in my life to be writing. So we all do this one too. Some of us are like, oh, I'm too young, I'm in high school or college or whatever. I don't have enough life experience. Some people say, I'm too old. I can't tell you how many emails I get from people that are like, I'm in my 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s. I get every decade. And people say, I'm too old to write, to start my writing career. And I'm like, no, you're not. And, you can start at any point in time. Did you know, I just found this out today, Frank McCourt, who wrote Angela's Ashes, which was this huge bestseller phenomenon, and he's gone on to write a trilogy. He was 66 years old when he published that book. Never published any book before that. He was 66. He published it, and it was like an international phenomenon. So, anyway, that's for not too old. Women and family life especially, like, oh, I'm about to have a baby, I just had a baby, we're thinking about having a baby someday. It seems to get a lot of women. You can still write. I wrote my first book when my third was 4 months old. I have a really good friend who is 30 weeks pregnant with her third. She's writing her book now. She's almost finished. So there are ways, there are strategies to do the writing. So even if you feel like it's not the right time in your life now, I would encourage you to mindset shift and say, if this book could shift everything in my life, why would I wait? So you may not feel like you have time now, but then ask yourself this question. If this book could change my life, why would I wait? And then the last one that we tend to tell ourselves, even I do, as a writing coach who has written a book. I don't know how to write a book. Because it feels like this huge thing. You're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to write a book. This is specific, of course, for people who are writing books, although it could apply to blogs, theses, dissertations, magazine articles, whatever. But to shift out of this mindset, learn. Go out and find take a course, read some books about how to do this writing, because I promise there are so many writers who've gone before you who have written their own books and courses and blogs and whatnot just to encourage you in your writing. So go out and find them. In fact, I have in that scope notes that I was just mentioning earlier, I've written down some of my recommended books. Of course, one of them is my book that I wrote, which is called Start Writing Your Book Today, a step-by-step plan to write your nonfiction book from first draft to finished manuscript. But I've also got my favorite books from like Sean Platt and Johnny Truant, who do the self-publishing podcast. They wrote a book that's great. Guy Kawasaki wrote a book that's really awesome for authors who are also entrepreneurs. Stephen Pressfield, everything he writes is amazing. Jeff Goins is You Are a Writer. He's like phenomenal. I love Jeff. And Stephen King and William Zinsser, who are like legends in writing. So if you are curious about what those books are and where to find them, go to, in fact, I'll go ahead and show you, paperravenediting.com/periscope. Let me flip you around so I can show you. So, see that? paperravenediting.com/periscope. That's my website. And I've just put this link up so usually I put thumbnails here so that you can see where the YouTube replay is, but I haven't finished the scope, so I can't do that yet. But you see this top 5 writing mindset shifts, and the broadcast date is today. And if you click scope notes, it goes to just an Evernote file that I wrote my notes down in, and there's some books with links to get you there. So that is always available for you. Let me show you that link one last time. Obviously, I'm still editing the page. paperravenediting.com/periscope. So you can replays. That's also where I keep my replays of my sort of core foundational scopes. I think would be really helpful for you guys. So writing is a confidence battle, and it is won or lost in your mind every day. I mean, every day I feel like I have this confidence battle with whether or not I'm like a writer. So just take these simple, like, shift your mindset, and it will help you really start getting that word count out and the writing done, and you can make some progress. Aisha, you had a question about being a lazy writer. So if you guys have any questions at this point, this is a great time for me to start answering a couple questions. I have about 10 more minutes before I need to get back. But being a lazy writer and not explaining yourself well, so that usually comes from, honestly, you have a lot of really expert knowledge in a subject. I think you're writing a thesis or dissertation, right? So that happens a lot in academia because you spend so much, and really happens in any industry. You spend so much time reading and learning in your own industry that you forget, that you assume the writer can read my mind. Yes. So you forget, like, what's worth explaining and what's not worth explaining. And honestly, I always recommend over explaining. So starting from the very foundational stuff. And so what you could do is, especially if there's a section that your reader has identified, like in this section you're not explaining things well, sort of take it out. Like, take it out of the larger writing and put it in its own document and just kind of read it. And then scrap it. You don't actually have to throw it away, but kind of start over in a new document and say, okay, and pick someone to talk to. Say, I'm going to explain this to someone who's really interested in my topic, but just doesn't know that much about it. That could be a parent, a sibling, an aunt or uncle, a friend, and literally pretend that that person is listening to you, and you are going to write it out in just a really conversational, low-key, no-pressure kind of explanation. In fact, if you have difficulty with this, you can call someone, literally pick up the phone and say, so-and-so, I'm having a hard time with this section. Can I explain it to you? And you can tell me if it makes sense or not. And that like getting new thoughts, new ways, new words of explaining something will really help you go back when you return to rewrite it. So in this new sort of pristine document, explain it like you're talking to your mom or your friend. And it's going to be super simple conversational language. And then once it's down in that nice, easy language, then you go back and you make it sound like you combine sentences, you take out irrelevant stuff, you polish it up then at that point. But at least then you've explained everything. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Did you have any follow-up questions, or does anybody else have any questions about writing or anything? I try to scope. My goal, and I've said this before and then I didn't do it, but my goal is to scope right around lunchtime Central US time. So it's like 11:30 here, and it's nice and quiet at my house. The nanny's got the kids out. They're going to lunch and playing and doing that sort of stuff. So my house is beautifully quiet, and this is a great time to have a conversation with you guys without children running in and out of the door. They don't usually, but sometimes they do. So if you guys want to catch more scopes on writing, hit the little Perry dude, click follow. I'm on Twitter at MorganGMac, the same handle. Thanks for the hearts, guys. I really hope this resonated with you. Go catch those scope notes. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to catch me on Twitter or whatever. And I will see you guys tomorrow, if not sooner. Alrighty, bye. Go do some writing.